Imagine the year 1840, and you're a bonny sea captain in the far South Pacific. You come upon an incomprehensibly large wall of ice, a mile high, stretching as far as the eye can see in every direction. You sail to the right, hoping to find a way around it, but no matter how far you go, it never ends. In fact, you wind up right back where you started. This is a literally impenetrable ice wall that you can never cross. Obviously, this must be where the world ends, and this ice wall was built to keep us from falling off the edge of the Earth. Obviously, the world is flat. Except no, any bonny sea captain worth his salt would have known that the Earth was round in 1840. He would have known that he was traveling in a circle. Nobody thought Antarctica was the end of the world, but in terms of accessibility, it might as well have been. Antarctica is a harsh, punishing, deadly place, nearly impossible to survive. Even though the world did not end at Antarctica, it's kind of like a new world begins there. There's a reason NASA trains astronauts for future Mars missions in Antarctica. It's basically another planet down there. People have only taken up residence in Antarctica in the last 100 years, and it remains very much an unexplored land. In the old days, unexplored lands were rife with legends, myths, and speculations of dragons and whatnot. Antarctica is no different. Today, I started looking into it and found a mountain of wild stories and mysteries surrounding Antarctica. If there's one word to describe Antarctica, it's desolate. An endless landscape of white snow and ice, it is simultaneously one of the driest places on Earth and home to 60% of the Earth's freshwater, all locked up in an ice sheet covering 99.6% of the continent. Antarctica is much bigger than most map projections suggest, more than twice the size of Australia, large enough to cover the United States, Mexico, the Gulf of Mexico, and most of the southern Canadian provinces. All of this is under an ice sheet averaging 2,160 meters thick, with an average wind speed of 10 knots that can reach up to 80 knots due to katabatic winds. Antarctica is also extremely isolated, surrounded by some of the largest oceans in the world, with the mainland over 1,000 miles away from the closest inhabited continent. The closest point, the Antarctic Peninsula, is within 600 miles of Tierra del Fuego in Argentina, separated by the Drake Passage, one of the roughest areas of ocean in the world. Antarctica is old and mysterious, home to about 400 underground lakes discovered since the 1970s using radar, seismic, and satellite technologies. Some of these lakes are over 3 kilometers deep in the ice. In the 1990s, Russian scientists discovered Lake Vostok, the sixth largest lake by volume in the world, under almost a mile of ice. Geothermal vents keep it from freezing, creating an isolated ecosystem that has been separated from the rest of the world for 15 million years. This isolation led to a raging debate about what kind of sea creatures might live at the bottom of Lake Vostok. Human curiosity drives us to explore such remote, isolated, and deadly places. Starting in the early 20th century, explorers raced to be the first to the South Pole, leading to tragic stories like that of Robert Falcon Scott. Despite his valiant efforts, Scott was ultimately beaten to the pole by Norwegian explorer Roald Amundsen. Scott's mission, while partly scientific, ended in tragedy when his crew succumbed to the harsh conditions on their return journey. The fossils they discovered, including petrified wood, provided early evidence of plate tectonics, showing that Antarctica was once part of a more temperate region of the supercontinent Pangaea. Other mysteries of Antarctica include Deep Lake, an inland lake about 55 meters below sea level with salinity 10 times that of the ocean, allowing it to remain unfrozen at -20 degrees Celsius. This lake harbors unique microbial life adapted to its extreme conditions. Taylor Glacier, known for its blood-red waterfall due to iron-rich nanospheres, adds to the eerie landscape. The Ross Ice Shelf, the largest ice shelf in Antarctica, produces seismic tones caused by winds blowing across the snow dunes, creating an otherworldly symphony. Moreover, a gravity anomaly discovered in East Antarctica suggests the presence of a massive impact crater beneath the ice, potentially twice the size of the Chicxulub crater that wiped out the dinosaurs. In 2017, a giant hole the size of Ireland opened up in Antarctica, known as a polynya. This phenomenon, caused by warmer water from deeper parts of the sea pushing up through the ice, is yet another testament to the dynamic and mysterious nature of this remote continent. Antarctica remains a land of desolation and discovery, where every expedition unveils more of its enigmatic secrets. In Antarctica, the warm water rises, causing the ice on the surface to melt. When this water comes into contact with the cooler surface water, it sinks again, only to be reheated and pushed to the surface once more. This process repeats continuously. Many such holes, known as polynyas, have been observed in the sea ice around Antarctica. However, the particularly massive one remains a mystery, as scientists are still unsure how such a large polynya could form. In 1964, the British Royal Navy's HMS Protector visited Bouvet Island, situated between the Cape of Good Hope and Antarctica. During their exploration, they discovered a lagoon containing a waterlogged lifeboat with no sails, markings, or identifiable features, just an anonymous boat in a remote lagoon. They also found a pair of oars and a 44-gallon barrel, but no signs of life or human remains. It seemed like an abandoned lifeboat with no clues about who left it there or their fate. In an even stranger twist, another expedition in 1966 found the lifeboat had vanished entirely, as if it had disappeared into thin air. Shifting from ghost ships to the paranormal, Antarctica is a hub for wild stories, including monsters and aliens. About a decade ago, a tale emerged about Lake Vostok, speculating on the life forms residing in its depths. In 2012, a Russian drilling crew allegedly encountered a monstrous octopus dubbed Organism 46b. This creature reportedly had extraordinary abilities, such as disabling the workers' radios, paralyzing prey with venom, and shape-shifting, traits somewhat consistent with known octopus behavior. According to the story, the Russian authorities supposedly captured the octopus but then denied its existence and confiscated all evidence. Adding to the bizarre narratives, some people believe that Nazis built a secret base in Antarctica, supposedly housing Hitler after World War II. This theory posits that from this base, the Nazis used UFOs to fend off American and British military forces. The US allegedly destroyed the base with nuclear weapons in the 1950s, but this information was supposedly concealed by governments worldwide. This narrative blends with the notion that if aliens were living on Earth, Antarctica would be an ideal secluded spot for their operations, launching UFOs from hidden bases. Various photos showing unexplained anomalies fuel these beliefs. Another set of stories involves pyramids or ancient civilizations buried beneath the Antarctic ice. Some theories suggest these could be remnants of an ancient Egyptian-like civilization or even Atlantis, given that Antarctica was once a more temperate part of the supercontinent Pangaea, suitable for life and human development. However, these theories often lack solid evidence and remain speculative. Despite these captivating stories, many have been debunked. The mysterious lifeboat, for instance, was traced back to a Soviet Antarctic whaling fleet that visited Bouvet Island in 1958. The crew left the boat behind due to bad weather, and it likely sank or got covered by ice over time. The tale of the monster octopus in Lake Vostok originated from a fictional blog post by C. Michael Forsyth, a former writer for the Weekly World News, known for its fictional content. While colossal squids do exist, the conditions in Lake Vostok, such as extreme cold and lack of sunlight, make it unlikely for a complex creature like a giant octopus to survive there. As for the supposed pyramids, many mountains around the world, including those in Antarctica, have shapes that resemble pyramids, especially when viewed from certain angles. These pyramid-like features are simply mountain peaks protruding above the glacial ice, known as nunataks. The Ellsworth Mountains, discovered in 1935, have many such pyramid-shaped peaks. The notion of an ancient civilization like Atlantis in Antarctica is also improbable. The continent has been covered in ice for about 15 million years, far longer than humans have existed. Any human civilization would have had to exist after the ice formed, which seems implausible given the harsh conditions and lack of resources. Regarding the Nazi base conspiracy theory, while it is true that Nazis visited Antarctica, it was for establishing a whaling station, not a military base. They landed in an area already claimed by Norway and named it New Swabia, but it was abandoned by 1945. Subsequent scientific expeditions have found no evidence of secret bases. The alleged UFO sightings in Antarctica are often explainable by natural formations like rocks, mountain peaks, or icebergs. The unique and alien landscape of Antarctica can easily lead to misinterpretations of unusual sights. Lastly, The hollow Earth theory, which suggests that Antarctica might be a gateway to a hollow planet, dates back to the 17th century but has been thoroughly debunked by modern science. The Earth is composed of solid rock and iron, not hollow as once speculated. Despite these debunked myths, Antarctica remains a focal point for scientific research. Studies include examining the ozone hole, ancient DNA, neutrinos from outer space, and even the meteorite believed to contain fossilized Martian bacteria. These scientific endeavors reveal the true wonders of Antarctica, far surpassing the myths in their significance and intrigue.